Beyond the Gates spoilers tease that this Thursday, May 29th, Fairmont Crest will shake under a storm of secrets, jealousies, and simmering betrayals. In the early light of dawn, a hush falls over the sprawling Hamilton estate, where manicured hedges and stately columns belie the tension brewing within. Inside the grand foyer, Dani Dupree stands frozen, her gaze fixed on the rolling hills beyond the terrace, replaying the evening's whispered revelations in her mind. The pristine walls offer no comfort as she grapples with the impossible news. Bill Hamilton's youngest partner, Haley Lawson Hamilton, is expecting his child. But something in Dani's heart recoils, an echo of suspicion that what she's heard might be more illusion than reality. Dani's world has tilted on its axis. As Bill's first and only wife for over 15 years, she has weathered storms of business scandals, public embarrassments, and mounting debts with unwavering grace. Yet this news cuts deeper. It threatens her place as mother, matriarch, and confidant. In the Hamilton clan, legacy matters as much as blood, and the prospect of a new heir, one not born of her own womb, sting as betrayal. Unable to bear the silence, she flees the house at first light, sweeping past the gardeners and maids, determined to find proof of Haley's pregnancy. Her investigation leads her to social media, Haley's profiles, Bill's and Chloe's Instagram commentary, private forums where the town gossip flourishes. Dani scrolls, her pulse racing. #baby bump? Ultrasound? Nothing definitive. And yet, a flicker of justification. If no digital evidence exists, surely the pregnancy is a lie. The pursuit of truth turns into obsession. Dani remembers overhearing Chelsea Hamilton, Bill's teenage daughter, warning her friend at the Fairmont County Club last night, "She's telling Dad everything." In her mind's eye, she conjures Haley confiding in Bill by the billiards table. Silent shadows hiding a conspiracy to usurp Dani's role. Panic wells in her chest. She pictures Haley's gleaming hair, the softness of her voice, and the unnatural ease with which she moved through the Hamilton inner circle. Could she truly be feigning maternity to secure her place? The more Dani turns it over, the more plausible the theory becomes. Still, she hesitates at confrontation. If she accuses Haley unjustly, she risks shaming herself, fracturing the family. Meanwhile, at the edge of town, Catherine "Cat" Richardson and Jacob Hawthorne pull onto the gravel drive of the Ridgewood Medical Center, the tires crunching on the stones as dawn breaks. Cat's trademark fuchsia scarf is knotted tight, her eyes narrowed against the morning chill. Jacob, ever the calm counterpoint, keeps a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Their investigation into the late-night crash that nearly killed Leslie Thomas and left Laura Peterson teetering between life and death has grown thornier by the hour. Reports claim that Leslie lost control of her vintage convertible on an empty road just outside town, but neither the vehicle's forensics nor witness testimonies add up. How did the car's hydraulic lift malfunction? Why was Leslie alone at that hour? And most puzzlingly, why has Laura's recovery stalled despite what the medical team boasts as aggressive therapy and high-dose potassium infusions? As they enter the ICU waiting area, the antiseptic scent and low hum of monitors greet them. Laura lies on the narrow bed, tubes snaking in and out, her face a mask of pain. A nurse glances up, offering a nod before slipping away. Kat pulls a pad from her satchel, flipping through scribbled notes. "Jacob," she whispers, voice tight, "the medical logs show Laura's potassium levels have been maintained within safe limits, yet her muscles won't respond. Could someone have tampered with her foreline? Switched medications? We need the pharmacy logs." Jacob pulls out his phone, checking the secure folder where he stores his encrypted files. "I'll cross-reference delivery receipts," he says, "see if any medications were diverted." Their partnership, forged in the academy and solidified through countless cases, hums with synergy. For both, this case feels personal. Laura Peterson is Kat's old friend from high school, and Jacob once mentored her during rookie training. They owe her the truth. As they gather evidence, a chilling possibility emerges. Leslie's accident may not be an accident at all. Kat's mind jumps to the potassium drip theory. Potassium, after all, is notoriously dangerous in excess, capable of halting a heart or crippling a body. Was Laura's slow recovery due to a dangerously high infusion? Or did someone inject a sedative into her bloodstream, keeping her in a coma? Every lead deepens the mystery. A missing security tape from the pharmacy, a lab technician who disappeared overnight, a cryptic note scrawled in Leslie's car. Kat and Jacob exchange grim looks. This case may expose more than a hit-and-run. Something darker lurks beneath the surface of Fairmont Crest. Back at the Hamilton estate, Dani steels herself for the confrontation she both craves and dreads. Bill, always the diplomat, has scheduled a private breakfast to discuss family matters. As she glides into the sunlit dining room, she finds him already seated, hands folded, eyes gentle but concerned. In the center of the table, a single rose in a crystal vase. The silence is thick until Dani clears her throat. "Bill," she begins, voice steady but eyes bright with unshed tears, "I saw Chelsea talking to someone last night. She said Haley told you about the pregnancy." Bill's jaw tightens. His gaze drops to the table. "Dani," he says softly, "Haley is pregnant. We've been trying for months." The words land like blows. Dani's breath catches. "Trying," she repeats, voice brittle. "Then it's true." Bill reaches across, placing a gentle hand over hers. "She wouldn't lie, Dani." Searing hurt wedges between them. "But she has every reason to," Dani snaps, pulling her hand away. "To steal my family, my place." The accusation hangs in the air. Bill's face goes pale, anguish flickering in his eyes. "Dani, please," but she will not be swayed. She storms out, leaving him alone with the rose and his regrets. The collision of worlds, though, is not limited to these two. In a shadowed suite at the Crimson Hotel, Leslie Thomas is plotting her next move. The crash that nearly claimed her life was orchestrated, she's convinced, by forces that would see her silenced. Yet her own darkness twists her strategy. She dons a blonde wig, styling it into bouncy waves that mimic Nicole Richardson's signature look. Slipping into Nicole's favorite silk gown, Leslie studies herself in the full-length mirror, practicing Nicole's soft smile and poised bearing. When she enters Ted Richardson's room that evening, knock soft as a whisper, his heart leaps at the sight of his childhood love, or so he thinks. His usual reserve crumbles as he welcomes Nicole with trembling hope. Leslie tilts her head, voice honeyed. "Ted, I needed to see you." After everything, his eyes mist. He reaches out to touch her cheek. For Leslie, the thrill of deception crackles like electricity. Can she keep the ruse? Will Ted see through the mask? The question looms as she steps closer, each heartbeat echoing in her chest. Not far away, Doug McBride's patience snaps like a twig. Fueled by desperation and steely resolve, he strides into the back rooms of McQueen's casino, the neon lights blinking overhead. Joey Armstrong, face ashen, counts out a fresh stack of bills on the poker table. The air pulses with tension. Cards, chips, and fear. Doug's muscular frame blocks the doorway as he approaches. "Joey," he growls, voice low, "time's up." Joey glances up, eyes wide. He owes grotesque sums to the casino's underworld lenders, and Doug's hands have been sent to collect. Joey chokes out a laugh. "I'm working on it." Beside him, Vanessa McBride watches with white-knuckled intensity, her loyalty torn between husband and the gambler whose ruin could shatter their fragile peace. Doug slides a palm across the chips, sending them clattering. "I want your payment," he snarls. Joey's bravado flickers. He knows what happens when debts go unpaid. Threats, broken limbs, public shaming. But he also remembers Vanessa's kindness, her flirtatious laughter that lights the smoky backroom. In a dangerous gamble, he leans forward, or what? You'll hurt me? You'll hurt her. His voice softens, eyes locking on Doug's wife. Because that's what you'll do. A flicker of something cruel dances in Doug's gaze: envy, rage, perhaps regret. Meanwhile, Vanessa squeezes Joey's hand, a silent plea hanging between them. At sunrise, Fairmont Crest stands on the brink. For lives, Danny, tormented by jealousy, Kat and Jacob, chasing a ghost of murder, Leslie, draped in deceit, and Doug, teetering between loyalty and violence, are drawn inexorably toward a collision. The secrets whispered behind closed doors, the hidden motives stirring in restless minds, will soon explode in a tempest of revelation. Each character, bound by ties of love, ambition, and revenge, prepares for the blows to fall. And as the first chapter concludes, every heart in Fairmont Crest beats in fearful anticipation of what lies beyond the gates. The haze of dawn still clung to Fairmont Crest when the tremors set in, rippling through each life bound to its secrets. In the Hamilton estate, Bill Hamilton paced the polished marble floors of his private study, hands clasped behind his back, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights. Haley Lawson Hamilton's revelation had shattered the stillness of his world, and now he wrestled with guilt and confusion. He knew Danny Dupree's accusation had wounded her deeply, but beneath his regret lay a flicker of doubt. Haley's gentle assurances that she'd been trying for a baby felt rooted in hope. Yet Danny's frantic search for proof and public spectacle had convinced half of Fairmont Crest that scandal brewed. Bill realized he stood at a crossroads. Protect his young fiancé's reputation or salvage the marriage he'd built with Danny. He recalled Haley's quiet strength, how she'd laughed at his awkward attempts at dinner conversation, how her eyes had lit up when he spoke of legacy and family. Yet he also remembered the tremor in his voice when Danny confronted him, tears welling as she'd accused them of betrayal. He'd never intended to hurt Danny. He'd only wanted honesty in the twilight of a marriage that had grown comfortable but lacked fire. Now every decision threatened to ignite the powder keg. If he publicly affirmed Haley's pregnancy, Danny's retaliation would be merciless. If he stood by Danny, Haley's heartbreak and disappearance from his life would shatter him. On the opposite side of town, in her sleek downtown loft, Kat Richardson sat hunched over a corkboard plastered with images: Leslie Thomas's mangled convertible, Laura Peterson's motionless form, security footage stills, and a grainy photo of a hand swapping medication vials in the hospital pharmacy. Jacob Hawthorne leaned against the wall, arms folded, as Kat traced a red string from one clue to the next. "Jacob, look at this," she said, pointing to hospital logs listing potassium shipments. One box marked urgent delivery had an extra signature, Ted Richardson's. Jacob's brow furrowed. Ted, Leslie's father, had no official ties to the hospital. Why would he sign off? They drove in silence to the Richardson mansion, where Ted waited, cup of coffee trembling in his hand. His eyes were haunted, guilt etched in the lines at the corners. Kat confronted him gently. "Ted, the records show you authorized that shipment. We need to know why." Ted's voice cracked. I thought it would help Laura recover. Leslie told me you couldn't trust the doctors, that they were withholding treatment." He swallowed. "She said if Laura got an extra dose, she'd wake up faster." Jacob's jaw clenched. Who else knew about this? Ted hesitated, tears pooling. "Only Leslie and me." In that confession lay the answer. Leslie's hunger for control had reached deeper than anyone suspected. She hadn't just orchestrated the accident. She was poisoning Laura's chance to respond, a macabre game to prove her loyalty and cunning. As evening fell, Leslie Thomas adjusted her blonde wig in the mirror of her small art studio, the space cluttered with half-finished canvases depicting fractured reflections. She studied the mask she wore as Nicole Richardson, memorizing every nuance of speech and gesture. Tonight, she'd push further, not just seduce Ted, but coerce him into covering her tracks. She slipped out, silent as a shadow, and crept to Ted's hotel room at the Crimson. A soft knock, then in she glided, voice silk, "I needed you." Ted's relief morphed into horror as her true smile emerged, predatory and triumphant. Leslie closed the door behind her, the click echoing like a guillotine. "You owe me," she whispered. "Keep quiet, and I'll stop the drip. Let Laura live." Ted's gasp caught in his throat. In Leslie's twisted mind, love and power were interchangeable. She would not be denied. Meanwhile, Joey Armstrong's world teetered on the brink of collapse. Under the neon glare of McQueen's casino backroom, he faced Doug McBride again, hands trembling as he counted the day's winnings, though the pile was pitiful compared to his debt. Vanessa hovered nearby, every muscle taut with fear. Joey looked at Vanessa, her eyes beseeching, and his roguish grin flickered. He'd used charm to survive before. Perhaps it could save him now. "Doug," he began, voice low, "I've got a plan. I can double my earnings at the tables. Give me one more night." Doug's jaw tightened, anger flaring. "One more night, Joey, and I'll break both your legs." Vanessa stepped forward, voice shaking. "Please, Doug, this isn't the way." He ignored her, turning back to Joey. "You've had nights enough. Pay up, or you'll wish you had nothing to owe." Desperation ignited in Joey's gaze. He slid closer to Vanessa, voice barely audible. "If I can't get the money, I could borrow from someone who cares." His hand brushed hers, or from someone else. The unspoken words hung heavy. He could seduce Vanessa and use her to settle his score with Doug. Vanessa recoiled inwardly, heart pounding with panic and shame. She'd married Doug for stability, but the gambler's desperation threatened to unravel everything she'd built. In that moment, all three realized the stakes. Loyalty, marriage, and life itself hung in the balance. Back at the Hamilton estate, Danny Dupree assembled her allies in the sprawling drawing room, her sister Margot, local reporter Elena Chase, and Chelsea, whose teenage anger had morphed into sympathetic tears. Danny needed ammunition beyond social media screenshots, something irrefutable. Elena slid a recording device across the table. "Haley's been talking to Bill on club date," she explained. "I have dates and times." Margot added confidential financial statements hinting at a hush money payment to Haley's previous employer, money that could imply a payoff rather than support for a new baby. Danny felt vindicated, though a hollow ache gnawed at her. These tactics would destroy Haley's reputation. But she convinced herself that self-preservation justified any means. That night, Haley arrived at the Hamilton greenhouse to gather flowers for a charity gala. The scent of orchids and ferns filled the air as she ran her fingers along petals. She sensed something wrong. The roses at the entrance were bruised, trampled. A note lay on the stone bench. Not real. Her heart skipped. She unfolded the paper, reading Danny's accusation that Haley's pregnancy was a fabrication, a bid for Bill's favor. Shock and fear welled, tears stinging her eyes. She pressed trembling fingers to her abdomen, recalling the morning she first felt life within. Determination replaced dread. She would not cower. But what could she do? In a house full of spies, allies were scarce. Under the cover of night, Kat and Jacob sifted through Ted Richardson's phone records at the local police precinct. Every call to pharmacy contacts, every text from Leslie's burner phone, lined up like a trail of breadcrumbs. They uncovered one final message sent minutes before Laura's accident. "Everything's ready. She'll be mine." The sender, a blocked number later traced to Leslie's studio. Kat's eyes flashed. She admitted it. Leslie orchestrated the crash and manipulated Laura's treatment. Jacob nodded grimly. "We need to rescue Laura and expose Leslie before another life is destroyed." Simultaneously, Joey crawled through back corridors of the casino, searching for a contact rumored to deal untraceable loans. He found the man in a locked office, surrounded by ledgers of shame. The lender's smirk widened as Joey pleaded. "I'll do anything. A contract slid across the desk, Joey's assets seized, and an agreement to work off the debt through illicit favors. Joey clenched his fists. He was trapped. In the final hours before dawn, each player made their move. Bill Hamilton, torn, decided to confront Danny. No bets, no threats, just truth. He cornered her in the grand foyer, voice firm. I love you, Danny, but I cannot abandon Haley and our child. Her eyes burned with betrayal as she realized that his loyalty had shifted irrevocably. Meanwhile, Haley, wounded but unbroken, sought Chelsea's aid, revealing ultrasound images and a private letter from Bill, undeniable proof of genuine love and intent. Their alliance offered hope. Kat and Jacob stormed Leslie's art studio at daybreak, evidence in hand. They found her crumpled amid torn canvases, mascara streaking her cheeks. It was for Laura, Leslie sobbed. I wanted her to understand how much I loved her. They cuffed her gently, voices ice and empathy. Laura, awakened by the commotion in her hospital room, opened her eyes to see her saviors. Relief washed over her fragile form. And in the smoky backroom of McQueen's, Doug McBride burst in just as Joey returned from the lender's office, pockets empty. Doug's fury erupted, but Vanessa intervened, brandishing the illicit contract. He's been forced, she cried. The contract's shadowy clauses illuminated the cruelty of the debt cycle. Doug, heart heavy, realized his own role in Joey's ruin. In that charged silence, he faced a choice: exact vengeance or extend mercy. As the first light of morning gilded Fairmont Crest, the pieces aligned for reckoning. Alliances fractured and reformed, truths emerged from veils of deception. Each character teetered on the edge of redemption or ruin. What came next would redefine their bonds forever, and beyond these walls, the land awaited the final cry of triumph or despair.